Alex Hogan, thank you. And staying with the midterms, far-left Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El-Sayed appearing on Jesse Watters' primetime, facing questions over his radical policies. Watch.
You want to abolish ICE? Who's going to deport the criminal aliens from the country?
Long before we ever had ICE, we had INS. We were able to enforce our immigration policies without shooting people in the face and the back of the head.
You say you want socialized health care. Abdul, how much is that going to cost?
It's going to cost the average Michigander a whole lot less than they pay right now. But I'm just going to tell you,
no, but what's the
I'm
price
up against
tag
a
of the
guy
program?
who voted to raise prescription drug prices 19 times.
Should men play women's sports? You have daughters, right?
At the end of the day, the decision of who gets to play what sports ought to be decided by the people who govern sports. I'm running for U.S. Senate. Jesse, it's insane. I'm out here trying to take on like the healthcare crisis in Big Pharma, and you're asking me about who gets to play what sports.
Senior advisor at the American Principles Project and former Federal Trade Commission staffer John Schweppe joins me now. John, your reaction to the interview?
Well, I think what you saw there was Jesse Watters holding him accountable for his views. And what you're seeing from Abdul, this is a fake populist. This is somebody who wants to tell you, dude, bro, no, dude, bro, I just want to talk about health care. But the reality is he is extreme, he's woke, and he wants to impose that, college campus orthodoxy on all of America. And I just don't think it's going to fly in Michigan.
But he did go into some specifics, as you heard in that answer. He's making much of his campaign about health care. Last week on this show, we reported that Donald Trump's internal White House polling is showing that health care could be the deciding factor for Republicans going into the midterms. So did El-Sayed win over any what I would call moderate voters, any on-the-fence voters with that answer?
Well, I think that's certainly on Republicans to counter that, right, and to talk about our own health care messaging and what we're going to do to lower prices. But I will tell you, when he's thinking about health care, and we saw this last night in the interview, he's thinking about gender-affirming care for minors, right? He's thinking about abortion. He's thinking about these radical things where I think most working Michigan folks are thinking about getting their prices down.
I think you're 100% right about that. I think the solutions that he is putting out there are not ones that you and I would espouse or would want. But I would argue that at least he's putting out solutions. And when Republicans go out there and say, we need to lower prices, they never say the how. This guy is saying the how, even though we would disagree with that. Your overall thoughts on that strategy?
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that, and certainly you want Republicans engaging in this debate, and you're seeing that, by the way. President Trump, his CMS just came out trying to fix the No Surprises Act, which raised health care prices. And so I think, obviously Republicans have a health care plan, but ultimately I don't think Abdul really knows what he's talking about when it comes to health care. As Jesse, noted yesterday, he didn't even know how much universal health care would actually cost the country.
Yeah, the specifics in that regard, you're right, are lacking. If I'm a voter in Michigan and I hear that, and again, if I'm on the fence, if I really haven't taken a position, I might hear that and say, yeah, my costs are too high. This guy gives a solution. And they're not, breaking it down like you and I are, really going through the nitty gritty and realizing this is a horrible plan for most of America or for, the survival of our country. But it's a plan nonetheless. And my concern for the Republicans is we're running out of time here. You got to come up with a solution. Yeah. Before we let you go, I want to get your thoughts on this. El-Sayed suggested that Vice President J.D. Vance's grandfather would have rejected Second Lady Usha Vance because of her heritage. Here is what Usha had to say in response.
I have to admit, I kind of laughed because, yes, I never met J.D.'s mama and papa, but I do know and love the children that they raised, his mom, his aunt and uncle. And they have never been anything but incredibly loving. His aunt is like a second mother to me. I have to think that if they raised children like that, they would have been loving as well. And I would have really, really, really loved to have met them.
What you just heard from the Second Lady is all about Midwest nice. You heard it right there. That's not what El-Sayed is selling, John. In the end, what are Michigan voters buying?
Yeah, well, I think, they're going to attack the vice president and his family because they pose a threat to what they want to accomplish. Democrats want to divide us into groups, into race, into sexual orientation. They want us to hate each other. And I think ultimately seeing JD's family, is an affront to that. And so it's a threat.
The full interview with Second Lady Usha Vance will air exclusively on Fox and Friends tomorrow. John Schweppe, thanks for your insight. Appreciate it, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.